Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to get into something really special, which is going to be the forecast outlook for 2020 for the sign of Aries. Now, this is going to be a general outlook for the year, right? It's not going to get that specific, right? Because this is going to be a broad overview of what type of energy you may be dealing with this year, what the main objective of your year is going to entail and what energies are involved, right? We're going to pull a simplified Celtic spread, and then I'm going to go ahead and do some clarifiers with the Thoth deck, and we're also going to pull your animal spirit and an oracle card for you for the year to see what your major, what your overall animal spirit energy is going to be like, or what the main sort of animal spirit energy you may have to be dealing with, right? Because sometimes animal spirits can also indicate stages in your life. And then we're going to pull an oracle card from the Rebel Oracle deck to be your oracle for the year, okay? So, all right, sit back, Aries. Let's go ahead and get into your yearly spread. And this, again, is general. It's not going to apply to all Aries. It doesn't necessarily only involve career or only about love. This is a general outlook. So we're just going to see what the cards have to say. All right. Straight out, Aries, you start off with a Two of Pentacles, okay? You're crossed with a Page of Wands. Justice, Queen of Cups, Nine of Wands, and King of Swords. So let's get right into your center cards, Two of Pentacles and Page of Wands, Aries. So the Two of Pentacles talks about a lot of change happening. So this year there's going to be a lot of change. There's going to be a lot of change in your environment. Two of Pentacles talks about change in the physical plane, right? So this could include jobs, finances, right? There's going to be a lot of upheaval, right? Or transition, as it were. You're just going to be juggling a lot. And this year is going to be, for some of you, Aries, this is going to be the predominant energy for your year. You're covered with a Page of Wands, though. So this energy talks about being very fearless. So a lot of you are going to be just extremely busy. You're going to be busy with work and career. Some of you may be juggling a career that is suddenly taking off, and now you're having to juggle a lot of different responsibilities, because Page of Wands definitely talks about somebody who is highly creative, but who's kind of starting on their journey, right? They're starting on their journey in terms of expressing their creativity and wanting to go out in the world and share that. They're just getting over their fears, right? But it also denotes somebody that has a lot of ambition, who's very, very sort of fiery and spunky and ready to go, right? So this is somebody who's also extremely happy about what's going on in their life, right? Their love life and their life, their career. This is somebody who's being extremely sort of creative in all areas, right? And having no fear. So for a lot of you, I'm going to say this is Aries, this is going to be a year for a lot of you that is going to involve a lot of creativity and busyness with regard to your career. I'm going to say that a lot of you are artists in some way. I think that this will be vocalists or painters or, artists who deal with that kind of thing. Singing, dancing, performers, right? People who are artists in a sense of painters and sculptors, who you're maybe perhaps opening your own show or your own gallery, right? And it's a real sort of like juggling act to get it off the ground. This is the feeling that I have for you because of this Page of Wands. Page of Wands is somebody who's really stepping out into the world in a very creative way, and they have a desire to express themselves in a creative way in terms of what they do, right? Had to take a sip of iced coffee. So this is going to certainly be for an artist this year who is really going to be very, very busy juggling sort of the practicalities, right, of this sort of new endeavor that they're taking off. So your energy, conscious, unconscious, your conscious energy is justice, which is a need for balance, and your unconscious energy is Queen of Cups. So for those of you, when we look at this in terms of someone who's really going to be doing a lot per se in a creative way, and definitely an Aries who's going to be working on their career a lot this year and their finances, this is very appropriate because justice talks about maintaining a balance in your life, right? Be careful of extremes. This year is going to be a time where you have to be very disciplined. And this is true of a Two of Pentacles situation. You have to pay attention to what you're doing if you're going to keep all your balls in the air, right? And so this is something for you also to take care of, Aries. Make sure that you remain balanced. Make sure that you are not doing anything that is out of character for you or going to any extreme behaviors simply because now and I can imagine for some of you artists who may be becoming a bit famous this year, or you may be just getting your work out there and becoming more busy and stuff, just be careful because this is what justice talks about. Don't let that get too far to your head too quickly because you're in danger of jeopardizing all of that. This is a very special year, and certainly for a lot of you this is going to be a beginning. So this is not for someone who's already a seasoned sort of performer or artist or something like this. This is someone who's very new on their path with this Page of Wands. So please take care, and justice is telling you that. And a lot of you are definitely focused on that because this is the energy in your conscious position. In your unconscious position, you have a Queen of Cups. Now, the Queen of Cups is extremely sensitive to everyone around her, right? She's probably the most receptive card in the deck. She's water of water. Queens of water, cups of water. So she is the most emotional of the court cards. And she has an ability to feel others, right? She can feel others she's the one who feels empathy and compassion, right? She's the one who can very easily lose herself to someone because she also feels for them so much, right? She's very sort of transparent with her own feelings. She's not really worried about being vulnerable, but in a lot of situations, she may end up being sort of vulnerable because of her openness, right? Now, this is what's in your unconscious, and take care because this is going to be probably for you a very emotional year, especially if you're accomplishing something that you've been trying to accomplish for a long time in a creative endeavor, right? You're going to be feeling very emotional, but you're also going to be very open to those around you, okay? And just take care with this energy because Queen of Cups can take on a lot of sort of other people's problems, other people's emotions. Whenever you are kind of starting to rise up a little bit and starting to become more successful, people tend to come in and sort of, want to sort of take a bit of your energy more and more. And for some of you who are very sort of sensitive, very caring people, Aries in general are very caring. They can come across as being very arrogant, which in fact sometimes, of course, you guys are. But underneath of that, Aries can be one of the most sort of attentive and caring of the signs, right? Remember, they are, they're the child of the zodiac. And so children, it isn't that children don't care or love why they're arrogant. They're arrogant because they're children and they're learning, right? But they have a natural love and sensitivity and caring within them. And so it's the same way with the Aries. And some of you may be resonating also with an extra amount of water in your chart. Okay, but in any case, you do feel very receptive and open to other people's problems this year. And so just be very careful of that. You come into this 2020 with a feeling of really sort of, wow, I'm almost there. I just got a little bit more work to do. But you're beginning to be able to look back on this long road of trials and tribulations because you can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So for a lot of you, it's really kind of this overwhelming feeling of like, wow, I can't believe I'm almost at the end of this long journey. I can really feel it from you, Aries. And in this reading, the energy is really there in a lot of ways because it's like you can see that the person there is kind of like, he's really sort of like, wow, You know, I took a lot of knocks. I took a lot of bruises. I can see, you know, I'm looking back and I'm seeing everything, but I just have a little ways to go, and then I'm going to be there. And this is indeed the case. And that's why a lot of you are going through a lot of change this year. Because I do feel for a lot of you, if it is your beginning year in terms of like starting to be more creative and things like that, then it's absolutely still a process, right? You still have a ways to go before you come completely out of the sort of wilderness, right? You may be beginning to have a little bit of success coming in for some of you. You may be having some money coming in, but it's still a year of difficulty with this Two of Pentacles, in a sense that there's still going to be a lot of flux and change, which is why Justice has come in to remind you not to take anything for granted and to maintain your balance, because you still have a ways to go, Aries. You see this with the Nine of Wands. You do still have a way to go. Now, you round out your year with the King of Swords. And the King of Swords is, of course, a very sort of disciplinarian type king. He's the great rule maker. He's also the great disciplinarian, right? And he comes in and he really demands, you know, he demands honesty. He demands sort of loyalty and attention. King of Swords, king of the mind. And so in a lot of ways, you know, he's the ruler of the mind, in the sense that he requires you to be able to communicate to him and to express yourself and to be honest in the way that you communicate with him, right? And so this is the person who comes in and takes no prisoners. It may be that by the end of the year, you have set yourself a real sort of strategic plan for how you are going to be running your business or whatever it is that you're doing with your craft. Some of you, an example would be, you know, if you are an artist and you're opening up your own sort of gallery, right? And there's a lot of change this year. You're coming in with this feeling of, oh, I'm almost there. But let's say halfway through the year, you have your opening and it's very beautiful and everything. But there's been a lot of changes, and there probably has been still a lot of difficulties, because you're not at a 10, you're only at a 9 here. There's still a little ways to go. And what ends up happening is by the end of the year, you're very sort of businesslike about it, right? You know, you started off excited, of course, because it was new and it was something you've been trying to accomplish, but you round off your year with this kind of like running it like a tight ship. You know what I mean? In any case, this will be for any of you or whatever venture that you're on this year. By the end of the year, you've set yourself firmly sort of in charge. You set a, you know, a plan for how it's going to go, right? And this is all for the sake of remaining professional and sort of getting better at whatever it is that you're doing. It's a really nice energy, guys, Aries, and I do feel really strongly that this is going to be a very good year for some of you, because the blessing will come in early. Probably December will begin, you know, you'll start to see this opportunity coming in if you are not already working towards it, right? Nine of Wands, excuse me, indicates that you've already been working for quite some time towards this objective, but it's this year that you really start to come into it. It could be that you haven't even, and because with this Page of Wands indicating something new, it could be that you have been working for quite some time to get out of this sort of stage of difficulty, right? And so now you've found this new creative outlet, and again, it still results in the same situation, which is that it's new, and you'll still be changing and learning. Hence the Two of Pentacles, right? It won't be, for a lot of you, since it is new. Regardless, it won't be until perhaps the second or third year that it's like, you know, that this kind of settles down a little bit, right? But this is not to say that you won't be experiencing success already this year. I think the reason why you have those Two of Pentacles is that there may be indeed some success coming in, but it just isn't like sort of stabilized yet, because the venture itself is quite new, right? So let's pull some clarifiers and see what the Thoth deck has to say about your year, Aries. And then we'll get into your animal spirit for the year and your oracle card. Looking for Aries for the full year of 2020. This is a really nice aspect. More and more, I feel like a lot of my collective, because my readings really talk about a lot of creative endeavors, and I feel like more and more my collective are those of you who are really working in the arts, or, you know, even if you are working in business and finance, you're working in a very creative, you know, branch of that. And I could be wrong, but that's just what the readings seem to be geared towards. So let's go ahead. Ace of Wands. Wow. Prince of Wands. Fire, fire. There's your sun. And there is your Two of Discs again. Okay, so there we go. So let's clarify. These are your clarifiers. Ace of Wands comes over this Justice card, which is interesting. Again, Page of Wands talks about you taking a new step in a very creative direction. The overall energy, though, with Page of Wands is that overcoming fear so that you can begin a new journey. But here we have the Ace of Wands, and this confirms that indeed you are starting something new and beautiful, and it does require all of your attention and discipline, right? And it requires you to not indulge, again, like I said, any extremes, and to focus on this Ace of Wands. This is indeed, for a lot of you, going to be the beginning of a very, very passionate sort of project, right? A creative and passionate project. At the bottom of the Queen of Cups, we have the Prince of Wands. And the Prince of Wands in the soft deck is the same as the Knight of Wands. And of course, Queen of Cups, you're being, again, I said for some of you, you're going to be very open and sensitive to others. Knight of Cups, interesting, Knight of Wands, I don't know why, I'm still on Queen of Cups. Knight of Wands is quite interesting in the sense that I always call that my great cheerleader card, right? And again, it reminds me that when I said earlier about the Queen of Cups being very open and receptive and taking care of that, because there are going to be people who are drawn towards you, I feel now with this Prince of Wands that it could be fans, or it could be people who are your admirers, people who follow you, people who are fans of your work, or, you know, what have you, right? Those type of individuals, because Prince of Wands are those people who are very enthusiastic about what you're doing, right? They can be that person who comes in and really buoys you up when you're feeling down. But again, this is not really the feeling that I have here with his placement. It's more that I think you're going to have a lot of people coming into you this year as a result of all these changes. And again, as a result of the fame, because guess what? The sun also indicates fame and sort of being in the public eye. The type of, you know, it's going to be those type of individuals that you have to watch out for. The ones who maybe are fans of yours, or do like your work, or they're like just, you know, very enthusiastic about what you're doing, you know, and they're always around. And it could be that's the kind of energy you need to just watch out for, that you're not being too sort of like, that you're not pulling too much of it into you, Aries, okay? Because you are going to have to maintain your equilibrium here, because what you're doing is a really great endeavor, right? Now, you get the sun energy coming in. And there is your confirmation that what you're doing is coming out of the darkness with that Nine of Wands and coming into a stage in your life where you are indeed going to be experiencing some notoriety, perhaps some fame, right? People are going to notice you, or you're going to be noticed, right? The sun, when you are in the sun, this is a card for taking center stage. This is certainly a card that is associated to performers and artists who are having their star rise, as it were, right? Dancing in the sun, being in the spotlight, and certainly being in the spotlight, right? Also dancing in the sun in the sense that life has you in its spotlight, and it feels like a real blessing wherever you are, what you're getting, the abundance and the reaffirmation that you are where you're supposed to be, and that spotlight is genuinely should be for you, right? That you deserve it. This is all the feeling of the sun also. It gives you, it's the warmth of the universe really shining down on you when we are in the sun, right? And so this is not an accident that you are where you are. And you should, this is going to be a very sort of like beautiful, reaffirming stage in your life that's going to just let you know that you are on the right track. And here's the Two of Pentacles coming back to clarify this King of Swords. And that's quite interesting because, again, Two of Pentacles in the center. Here's your Two of Pentacles. And I believe that it's all the ups and downs with regard to your business and finance, which is why you're going to end the year off being very strict with King of Swords. You're going to be very strict, and you're going to have, like I said, a real definite plan of the way things are going to go. And I think a lot of that's going to come out of all of the change that you had to deal with this year with regard to your money and juggling things around. Because, of course, you know, for those of you who are sort of like getting, your business may be growing or your fame may be rising. Of course, your coin is increasing, and there's more of a, you know, it's in those times that there's a greater chance for losing money also, right? Because you have people working for you maybe who aren't as diligent as they should be, or, you know, giving themselves a 5-finger discount or whatever. You know, it's like, this is the more, they say more money, more problems for a reason. And so I think for a lot of you, you do end the year off being very, very strict, because you've gone through, by the end of 2020, you will have gone through so many changes and having to juggle so much with your finances that you realize it's very, very important to also be diligent with that. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and pull out your animal spirit. This is an overall year reading, so if this resonates with you, you know, it doesn't need to be so specific and intricate step by step, because this is the overall sort of scenario for your year, right? And so if you have this in your mind and you resonate with it, and this is something you've been trying to work towards, this is enough for you to be able to know what moves to make when. It should be. And of course, when you then check in for your weeklies and your monthlies along the way, your readings, you'll get more insight. But this is enough certainly for you to plan ahead, or to at least, not plan, because you don't plan your life on a reading, but to at least anticipate some of the things that you might be going through. You know what I'm saying? Just to anticipate maybe some of the energies or some of the individuals you might be dealing with, like this Prince of Wands down here, right? And certainly to be, to a certain degree, prepared, right? All right, let's pull out your animal spirit, Aries. Sorry, I've got like planes or something flying overhead of me, and it's like every 2 minutes it sounds like there's a plane outside. Sorry about that. All right, we're just going to pull one animal spirit for your year, Aries, and for you, it's going to be the lamb. Wow, and of course, this is perfect. This is something new and creative that is being brought into the world, right? Very, very beautiful. Now, the lamb is really a beautiful creature. It is an earth animal spirit, of course, and those green lines indicate the nature of its creativity, this high level of creativity that the lamb is associated with, right? The lamb is associated with prophetic messages coming in, being still, right, so that you can hear the message for you, right? This is a very destined year for some of you, Aries. It is a destined year for you to really burst into a creative field, and it's also a year where you're going to be sort of really feeling like you're in touch with your divine, right, or your spiritual guides, your angel guides, what have you, that you're going to really be speaking with them and hearing them clearly, because this is a year that is very fated for you, for some of you, right? And of course, it's at that time that we do have messages that come in to tell us, you know, what we're, you know, how we're doing, where we're going, why we're going down this road, and what sort of energy to maintain, right? Because all of this is part of a lesson, a great lesson. And so the one thing that Lamb does do is it tells us to remain sort of still. And again, justice has come in to remind you not to take anything to the extreme. And the same thing is with the lamb this year, in the sense that make sure that even though you're going through a lot of ups and downs, Aries, make sure to take time out for yourself to be still, to be quiet, to get away from all of the, you know, rushing and the hubbub, right? Not, obviously not to be to take any extreme sort of behaviors on, right? But to also take time for yourself to be still and make sure that you're meditating throughout the year and sort of taking a moment to calm yourself, because this entire year you're going to be getting very important messages coming in about yourself, who you are, and your future. And this is going to be not only a year of abundance and for a lot of you fame, right? Abundance and sort of favor. It's also going to be a great year of just learning a lot about yourself and really learning what your destiny is. All right, guys, let me pull out your oracle card for the year. This is very nice indeed. I'm going to put the lamb over here so that you can see him. It's really beautiful. And again, it's going to feel very sort of destined for some of you, very fated this year. And so, yeah, take care. These messages are all to tell you to really take care. Watch out what you're doing, right? So that you can make the most of this year and learn the lessons, if there are, what lessons there are. There are always lessons to learn, right? This is not to say that you need to learn. It's just that there are always lessons in life to learn. There's always things to sort of get out of everything. So this year is going to be for you. For some of you, it's going to be an amazing year, but it's also going to be a deeper year than you ever imagined. And your oracle for this year is going to be, what do you feel? All right. So again, this is talking about really staying in touch with yourself and your heart and who you are. What do you feel? Making sure that people don't take you off your square or your path, or get you to think that you aren't in control of who you are and what you're feeling, right? Another reason this oracle comes in is because I believe that this year, because of all the change that you're going to be going through in the general flux, there are going to be times where you're overthinking things, right? Where you're trying to decide which way to go. You're going to have decisions to make, and it's going to be a period of like, all right, well, let me just think this through. Let me just think this through. Let me just see which way is the best way to go. And so don't forget, again, like I said with the lamb, you're going to require times of stillness so you can hear the messages, so you can hear your guides coming in, whatever those guides are for you. They're personal, right, Aries? But also there's going to be times where you're going to also need to take a step back from everything and take a moment and feel what the right thing is to you to do, right? Because you're not always going to have all the information to just make the best logical decision. And a lot of times you're going to have to take your gut, and take what you really feel about a situation and go forward with that. Listen to your heart, listen to your conscience, and listen to your intuition. And that's going to guide you into making at least the kind of decision that, even if it's not the best decision, it's the decision that you can live with. All right, guys? All right, this is it. Aries, this is your reading, your 2020 outlook. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead, like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to check out your other videos. But for right now, Aries, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of 2019, and I'll see you in 2020. Bye-bye now.